Now, you said that you were afraid to talk to your friends. You were afraid to talk to your wife. Were you? And you said, I was afraid they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back a little on that. Were you
Okay.
afraid they wouldn't understand, or were you afraid of the potential judgment?
I was afraid of the judgment. You know, listen, being judged by people sucks. All right. Until
Yeah.
you live inside my head, you don't get to judge me.
And the fear of being judged sucks. And
Yeah.
sometimes we put that on people when maybe they're a little more forgiving than we give them credit.
Yeah.
Welcome to All Can, No Can't, the podcast where we toss out excuses, face our fears, and reclaim control. I'm Jeff Luther, your guide to mastering the chaos and turning obstacles into opportunities. Whether you're an entrepreneur navigating the ups and the downs of building a successful business, or someone ready to rewrite the rules of your life, this is your space to grow, to push boundaries, and to embrace doing the hard shit that leads to greatness. Together, we'll explore stories of resilience, strategies for overcoming, and the mindset shifts that let you build a life on your terms. I use my experience with a life-altering diagnosis to help you find the can in every can't. So buckle up, because it's time to stop living in can't and start thriving in all can. You choose.
Welcome back to All Can, No Can't. This is the show where we flip obstacles into fuel, excuses into action, and chaos into control. I like to say that we find the opportunity in all the obstacles. I'm your host, Jeff Luther, entrepreneur, survivor, and coach, and I'm here to help you build the mindset and momentum to move forward, 30 seconds at a time. And we're going to get right into it. We have Gretchen Schoser here with us as a guest. She's the co-host of an award-winning mental health podcast, and it's the shit that goes on in our head. She's a dedicated advocate for the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. So I hope you're paying attention to that. We'll get into that a little bit. And she's a suicide attempt survivor. Gretchen combines a rich tech background with personal experience to inspire and empower. And at the young age of 61, she created a company that champions resilience and growth. In this episode, we're just going to talk about kind of how she got where she is, and you're going to laugh your ass off. Gretchen, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, me too. I've been looking forward to this. I screwed it up, 2 weeks ago, and I was like, oh my God, she's giving me a test. I have to talk to her before we do the actual interview. But I messed up my calendar, so thanks for agreeing to come back.
It's all good. You know what? We're human. We mess things up. Hey, at least you don't triple book yourself. I've done that 5 times now, so it's all good.
Oh, that's the worst. That's when you break out in sweat and you try to figure out what it is you messed up and where you went wrong and all those things.
And who you can cancel? Yeah, it's great.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you were doing in your prior life before you started your entrepreneurship journey.
Wow. So that whole journey didn't started because of one crucial day. On December 25th, 2022, I attempted to take my life. I am a true extrovert. I am an empath. And what it all boiled down to is I wasn't taking care of myself. I took care of everybody else. So I was offered an early retirement from a company I worked at for 15 years. And I knew my time was kind of limited. And after my suicide attempt, I decided that I was going to open up on social media and kind of let them know what was going on, because nobody knew how depressed I was. My wife didn't know. And at the time, I was 59 and a half, and we had been together for 28 years. Nobody knew.
Let me interrupt you. Did you know?
I didn't know. I didn't know what was going on. All I knew is I didn't feel right. I felt drained and tired and mad, and I couldn't regulate, and I was drinking way more than I had ever drank in my entire life. And I was just sad. I was sad all the time, but a lot of really horrible things happened in a really short period of time. My wife had shingles at the beginning of October. That was 8 weeks of not being able to do anything, right? But
Yeah.
as an empath, I'm taking on all that pain. I hit and killed a deer. I got catfished. Thankfully, like my little mind kind of woke up during that, so I didn't spend any money. But then I had a close friend of ours pass away unexpectedly. My father-in-law passed away 2 days before Thanksgiving. Throw in some holiday depression, some seasonal depression, and then with my job, they were slowly taking away all my responsibilities. So I would sit around for 8 hours doing absolutely nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And so like my sense of worth was being taken away from
Mm.
me. And about 2 weeks before Christmas, we had been in New York City and I got really, really, really drunk. Not something that I typically wouldn't do, but I ended up losing my phone. I broke my nose. And at that time, I had wished that people would have picked up on what was going on because it was totally not me.
Yeah.
And
Now, when you were in it, in that moment, were you thinking, "Oh my gosh, I wish someone would just ask me if I'm okay," or was this later?
it was later because like I was still trying to figure out what was going on with me. I couldn't figure out why I was so depressed and like why I I just couldn't put two and two together. I grew up in a generation where you don't really talk about what's going on inside your head
No,
because
if you talk about it like a therapist or anything, you're fucking crazy,
yeah, like
right?
there's so much shame and so much stigma and people think you're weak and I'm like, well fuck, I don't want that, you know, I don't want people thinking of me that way. So I'd show up every day to work with a smile on my face. People would ask me how I'm doing. I'm like, hey, I'm doing great. In the back of my head, I'm like, fuck, I am done. Like I couldn't take it anymore.
So, let me interject here, and this is like this is a hard question for me to ask, and you'll understand why. Not because it's super personal, but so I have three boys. They're 20, 18, and 16. And being a male, I relate that to the male. We're not allowed to be weak. We're not allowed to say that we hurt. We're not allowed to say we're suffering inside. That makes us crazy. All those things. But that applies to you too.
Yeah, applies to women too.
Yeah.
Like
And that's coming from a place of ignorance. I don't mean that.
no,
Okay.
but it's not ignorant. Like, so women go through the same thing because, like, if we complain that like we're having a hard day or like we're depressed, people want us to just suck it up and move on.
Yeah.
Well, it's really hard to do that if for 3 months you were literally suffering. For me, I couldn't find my voice and I couldn't find my footing because I didn't understand what it was because I'd never felt that way before. But as an empath, I didn't put my shield up fast enough, so I'm sucking up everybody else's like pain and hurt and making it horrible for me. And as an extrovert, I threw on a mask so nobody could see what was really going on behind the mask. So I have like a PSA for all the extroverts out there. If you are wearing that mask right now, take it off because the only person you're hurting is yourself because you're not allowing anybody in to come and help you out.
Yeah.
I, I, and for me, like I had a lot of guilt about that I hadn't opened up, but like I didn't know how to.
Yeah, that's a piece of it too. But you speak about being an extrovert. Like for me, I am an extroverted introvert. Like I like people. I like being around them. I communicate well. I have fun. But I don't get my energy from people. People kind of take energy from me. But as an extrovert, would you say you get your energy from people?
I do. I get a lot of my energy from people, and what's weird is I'm working from home, so like the only people I see are my wife and like the 8 cats. Well, at the time it was 9 cats, so now it's 7. Living in the upper northeast, was getting cold. We
Yeah.
had a really cold winter that year, and it just kind of I kind of became introverted, and it was weird. It was weird for me because, like, I didn't want to decorate. I had no desire to do Thanksgiving dinner, no desire to do Christmas dinner. I didn't
When
put up a
normally that's
tree.
like your thing.
Yeah, it was my thing.
Yeah.
And it didn't make me mad. I think everybody was just so involved with everything else that was going on because, like I said, there was a lot that happened in that 3 months that affected, me and my friend group. And
Yeah.
I, if I wish I would have said something sooner because the most terrifying day of my life and was Christmas Day. I was literally 20 minutes from taking my life. And it was during that time that I had emptied a bottle of pills into my hand. My other hand was shaking as I'm trying to like dial 988. And there was like, okay, this is going to sound a little woo woo, but it's not really woo woo. It's like I felt a presence, right? And like I heard these words that things were going to get better. And it was at that time that I had finally dialed the last digit to 988, which is the 988 here in the United States and in Canada is the Suicide and Crisis Hotline.
Yeah.
The lady that answered that phone was the most compassionate person I've ever spoken to in my entire life. And she gave voice to what was going on inside of me. She told me I was depressed.
Let's get back there in that moment for a second, if that's okay.
Yeah, I told you I'm an open book.
What I'm trying to get where you were. What did you hope to accomplish by calling 988? What did you hope would happen?
I was hoping that they could just like calm me down. I mean, I was ready. So like prior to that call, I had gone outside to get in my car to go for a drive because when I get really in my head like that, I just like to drive.
Okay.
But we couldn't do that because it was minus 22 up here and the car wouldn't start. And that was the final straw.
Oh, wow.
I'm like, what the fuck else could happen?
Yeah.
So I like came back in the house. My wife didn't even know I came back in the house. I went upstairs and I was like, I am done. I'm just done. But there was also a part of me that was like, I don't want to be done, but I just want to feel better. And
Yeah.
I couldn't really talk to my wife because I didn't know what to say.
So was there shame around that? And I have
Yeah.
a theory.
It was very shameful. Like here I am, I'm a fixer. I'm a people pleaser. All things that, therapy has taught me to do better at. But I couldn't fix myself. I was angry that I couldn't make myself feel better. And for years, we'd self-medicate or we'd go outside or we'd do things. But all that stuff wasn't working anymore. And I knew that there was stigma and weakness for people reaching out for help, but like there's no stigma or weakness in asking for help. They literally saved my life that day.
Yeah. And I've learned that when we say things out loud, sometimes they're not as big. Because the world's big, right? Like the world's huge and we're really, really small. And then we have all this stuff that we deal with in our head and it seems big. And you say it out loud and it's not so big. And sometimes shame lives in darkness. And you put some light on that shit and it's not that big. So, and I'll add too, this is just like a plug for 988. Because, suicidal ideology, it stems from hopelessness. Like you can't fix. You don't see hope. So it sounds like that's probably where you were. You saw no hope. And I want to plug 988 because those people go to work and we think, oh, I'm not going to bother my wife with my shit. I'm not going to bother my friends with my shit. 988 folks, they go to work and that's their job. That's what they want to do. So
they're there to save lives. And it's not just for people with suicide ideation. It is also for anybody in crisis, any type of crisis. So if you're in crisis right now and you don't have anybody to turn to and you can't find your voice or your footing, call that number.
Yeah. Yeah, and they welcome your call, which is different than I don't want to bother.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to bother because another problem with not a problem, but another part of that is like when I was getting ready to like maybe like talk to my wife is like I need them to listen with their ears and not with their mouth. Okay. Like, I just need you to hear,
Yeah.
I just need you to hear me out. Like, let me tell you what's going on inside of me and just listen. And there's a great Simon Sinek video out there. It's on YouTube. It's called 8 Minutes. If you get a chance, go and listen to that 8 minutes. We could all use 8 minutes. And when somebody reaches out to you and they need to vent, listen with your ears and not with your mouth. Because here's the difference between a friend and a therapist. A friend will try and fix you and they could make things worse, whereas a therapist, you are in a very safe space with them. And they are there to help you kind of get to that next minute, that next day, that next month. And that's what they did for me.
And you're saying something so profound there. You just said they're there to help you get to that next minute.
Yep.
Sometimes a minute is an eternity. And I learned a lesson that's, people say, oh, life is short. Life is short. I'm like, sometimes life gets pretty fucking long. I don't know. I know death is real, but I don't know about life being short. Thank you for that. And thank you for the vulnerability. And hey, here's what I did. I called 988. That's what saved my life.
It did. 100%. If I hadn't made that call, I probably wouldn't be here today. But I'm thankful every single day to be alive.
Do you remember how long the conversation was, your initial?
It was over an hour.
Yeah. What were you doing? Because you went back inside and called, right?
Yeah, I went back inside and called. I had opened the bottle of pills and had it in my hand. And I'd had a bottle of water and I had my phone and I'm like, shit just needs to get fucking better because I just wanted something to numb all the voices in my head, all the pain and shame and weakness that I felt. And I was like, what's it going to hurt if I just maybe call somebody who doesn't even know me, right?
Yeah.
Because here I am afraid to talk to my friends, my family, my wife, my colleagues. Like, are they going to understand what's going on in my head? And like I said, they gave voice to what was going on inside of me, which was a relief. Like, so I didn't think I was like fucking crazy. I felt, what's that word I'm looking for? I felt destabilized. Like here I am, used to like everything working out. I'm like, good, I can do this, but I couldn't do it anymore. And as soon as I got off the call, I felt a little better. I talked to my wife for 3 hours. I cried for over 3 hours. And she was mad. She was mad that I hadn't come to her.
That was going to be my next question, if she was mad.
She was mad, but she over time, she started to understand what I was going through because she'd never been through something like that. And for people that haven't been through a super depressive episode, you have no idea what's going on in our heads. None.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Now, you said that you were afraid to talk to your friends. You were afraid to talk to your wife. And you said, I was afraid they wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back a little on that. Were you afraid they wouldn't understand, or were you afraid of the potential judgment?
I was afraid of the judgment. Listen, being judged by people sucks. All right? Until you live inside my head, you don't get to judge me.
And the fear of being judged sucks. And sometimes we put that on people when maybe they're a little more forgiving than we give them credit.
Yeah. But like when you're in that headspace, like it's hard to reel out of it. I was
Yeah.
I was I was thick. I mean, in the thick of it, and you know, we all have the woulda, shoulda, coulda. Okay, but I try not to thrive on that because I had gotten to that very end. For 3 months, I just shoved it down and shoved it down and shoved it down until there
Three
was no
months,
place.
that's a long time.
Yeah, until there was no place else to go. Like I'm 4'11", okay? Like I literally had so much crap. It was like coming out of my head. It was horrible. It was a horrible thing. Horrible.
Man, so this is morbid, but I think it's relevant. Did you think about? Are you feeling stuck? Overwhelmed? It's like you're fighting against something that you can't even see or name. I've been there, literally. I survived sudden cardiac death, and I rebuilt everything. I've mastered the art of controlling the chaos. Now I coach a small group of high performers that are willing to do the work to do the same thing. No fluff, no excuses, we just get results. If you're ready to take back control, apply now at jeffluther.com. This is all can, no can't. Did it go through your mind before you called 911 that your wife was going to find your body?
I did. I was like, that was part of that thought process of making that phone call. I started to think about all the people in my life and how sad they would be. And like, how could I make it so that my wife wouldn't be so sad? And that is probably the one thing that helped me to finish dialing that number.
Wow.
Like I did the 9 and then I did the 8, and it took forever to get that last number out.
Just trying to figure out what to do.
Just trying to figure out what to do. Like, I'll tell you, I feel for anybody that's gone through this because it's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Both sides are terrifying, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Like, if I do it, great, I'm out of pain, but the other side of that
Maybe.
is like everybody else is going to be suffering, and I didn't want that, right?
Yeah.
So I had the fortitude to like finish like dialing that number, and they answered the call right away. And they gave me resources that I didn't know had existed.
Oh, wow.
But I had remembered before I had made that phone call that a couple months prior, I had remembered reading about the 988 crisis line. It's like, fuck, maybe they can help me. Because, like, they're a third party, right? I don't know them from Jack. They're not my wife. They're not my friends. They're not my colleagues. What's it going to hurt?
Right. Yeah.
It was a lifesaver.
And at any point in that entire conversation, did you ever feel like that person on the other end of the line wanted to be someplace else?
No. They were like, they just were, how do I explain it? They were the best listener I've ever had. Next to my mom. I mean, my mom was a great listener, but this lady was amazing. Amazing. And, you know, she reminded me to offer myself patience and grace. And she reminded me that, you know, she's grateful that I made that call. She reminded me that I am loved, wanted, and needed. And for anybody that's out there listening to this conversation, please remember that you are loved, wanted, and needed. And no matter what you've done in this world, you're still loved, wanted, and needed. And it wasn't a selfish act. I was screaming from the top of my lungs for help. And, you know, hardest day of my life.
Man. You know, statistically, too, for anybody else that's listening, not to add to the pressure, but a thing to consider is when someone commits suicide, it normalizes it to some degree for the survivors that are left. That's a thought too.
And I think the other part of it is like I felt guilty. I felt guilty that people were going to have to say she took her life by suicide or she died by suicide or having those conversations. And I kind of didn't want to put that on my friends and my family and my wife.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be remembered that way. I mean, I'm a productive member of society. I was high functioning depression, high functioning.
Yeah.
And it happens to a lot of people and you don't realize it. So, I'm going to circle back around this later on, but just be kind. Listen, you have zero idea what's going on in somebody else's head. Be nice. It's not that hard. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say it.
Just keep walking.
Keep moving. Move forward.
Yeah, that's my motto behind me right there. Don't die, be kind, and do the right thing. I mean, it's not that hard.
It is not that hard. Be nice.
Man, that's heavy. I guess it was heavy. Right?
It was heavy, but it has an amazing ending to it.
That's what I want to talk about. Let's keep moving. So how old were you at this point? How young were you?
I was 59 and a half at the time. So the next day after all that shit went down, I decided to open up to social media and let them know what was going on because I have thousands of friends, So I do this great social media post and I had about 200 people reach out to me and say thank you. Because number one, they felt seen and they felt heard because they had been suffering too.
Yeah.
And so that was my first healer. And then my second healer is my co-host, Dirty Skittles. But at the time, she was my manager. I use that term super loosely because I retired from work in April. Been friends for 7 years, but we would call each other every morning and laugh about stuff you should never, ever, ever, ever laugh about. Ever laugh about. But that was a healer for me because here's a great thing about laughter. Even if you're depressed, you can still laugh. Laughter releases that cortisol and it gives you some serotonin and gives you some endorphins. So no matter how crappy your day is, you can go back and reflect on that conversation that made you laugh and it just makes you feel better.
Yeah.
And, that glimmer of hope that said things are going to get better. So they slowly are getting better, right? So after one of our funny conversations, my co-host is like, "Hey, let's do a podcast." And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" What else could happen? So we launched the podcast on February 14th of 2023 in honor of my mom. I had buried my mom in 1997 on Valentine's Day. And as part of my healing journey, I wanted to change the trajectory of that day because I was tired of being sad.
Yeah.
So we launched the podcast and we thought, we're just going to do 3 episodes. Okay, joke was on us. By April, we had 10,000 downloads. I'm like, who's listening to us? We're dumb.
So in 3 months, you had 10,000 downloads.
Yeah, wow. Who's listening to us? We were a bunch of idiots. And so, we did that. And then my wife and I had decided to, we took a retirement trip. We did 3 weeks in Europe.
Okay.
And, I'm, still kind of going through the healing journey, but now I can actually laugh and I could smile. And, by that time I'd been in therapy and therapy taught me a lot of things. They taught me about boundaries, how to put my shields up, how to take care of myself, doing some journaling and things like that. And then we got back from Europe and I started at a small consulting firm. I'm old, but I wanted to work. Okay.
Yeah.
That's just how I am. I need to keep my mind busy. And that was all well and good until November of last year. And that small consulting firm got picked up by one of the top 5 consulting firms. And, I'd already spent 15 years at my dream company. And I knew right away that I never wanted to work for a big company again. it's different. Like if I'd been in my 20s, be like, yeah, I'm gonna go work for the top 5 like consulting firms. You know what? When you're 60, you don't want to do that. When you're like
Okay.
61,
Yeah.
that's like that. No, that's not your wheelhouse. No. And we had won a couple of really cool awards with a podcast, and I was like, you know, showing up to work, from like November through the end of December, and I was showing up like with resting bitch face every day because I didn't want to be there,
Right.
right? Like it's not what I wanted to do. It was too regimented, and I needed something to like really drive me home. So my wife and I were in New York City, uh, right around the holidays, and we're at dinner, and she's like, you can quit your job. I was like, well, I was going to ask if I could quit my job, but now they gave me permission to. This is perfect. So, I felt like I'd had a weighted X-ray blanket come off my shoulders because I was able to like really figure out that it was okay. And this time, like everybody knew where I stood. Like I had taken my mask off right away. Like everybody knew where I stood. I was super depressed, didn't want to do it. And I forgot, we were flying home on the 22nd of December, and I forgot how long it takes to de-ice a plane, right? So we're on a plane for like 2 hours. But I had my resume and I had ChatGPT on my phone. So I slid my resume into ChatGPT. I'm like, form an independent consulting firm based on my 45 years in corporate America and everything I've done with the podcast. In about 2 minutes, it came back with like this amazing consulting company. Of course, I took about 2/3 of that off because, I'm a little later in my career and I didn't want to do that stuff. And came back to work on January 2nd and put in my 2 weeks and formed my LLC.
For the new consulting firm.
For my new consulting firm. And I'm happy. Like my wife told me 2 weeks ago, this is the happiest she's seen me in 20 years.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I want to say what's the secret, but that's not the answer. That's not what the answer I'm looking for. Tell me what your day is like. Like,
my day is
do you start
crazy.
out every day with like rolling out of bed, crying, thanking whatever it is that you're alive?
Every day, this is how I start my mornings. So I'll watch 20 minutes of a funny video.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is because it gets my cortisol, out and
Yeah.
gets some serotonin, endorphins. And it's like, lately it's been like raccoons, goats, and chickens, right? Like, don't ask me why. They make me laugh. And then after I watch that 20 minutes, I have a gratitude practice. And I say what I'm grateful for every single day.
Okay.
And then I make my way downstairs and I start my day. And my day, I'm either doing podcast stuff or, I've put together a little course on how to use AI for, older executives that don't really understand the technology. And I have my technical side of my business where, I'm working with a couple of customers for, like with UKG recruiting and onboarding. And then I've partnered with Calmery, and I co-wrote a ebook called the Mental Health Work Toolkit. So
nice.
I'm working with companies to ensure that they have their employees' mental health, that they're actually thinking about that. Because right now, the world's on fire, and people not only have their day-to-day work stuff, but there are so many external factors coming at them every day that it's hard to show up. It's hard to show up from themselves. It's hard to show up to their jobs. So, and then I'll take a couple of breaks during the day. If it's nice, I'll try and get outside. In the wintertime, and we don't go outside, okay? Because that just means I need to put on a whole bunch more clothes than I feel like putting on.
Right.
But I'm grateful that I get to do this because not everybody is in this position that they can do this.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to touch a little bit on gratitude also. I never thought that I had an issue with gratitude. I'm grateful. But when it came down to it, I was like, gratitude is always this big, massive thing. Like, I'm so grateful that when I was saving that kitten in the tree during the tornado, that lightning didn't strike the tree and fall. You know, it was like all, and then I fell into a pot of gold. Like, gratitude is just so simple, right? It's just a few. I'm grateful. I mean, I'm grateful that I've got this pen that I can write these notes with.
Yeah. A gratitude practice is so good for you, not just mentally, but physically. There's a lot of like studies out there that show that by starting a gratitude process, that it helps you in all areas of your life.
Yeah. And, you know, for me, it helps me appreciate, like, the fringe, you know, that when something happens that, you know, like you probably are very grateful when a car doesn't start now.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, it sucks that your car didn't start, but hey, I'm so grateful because this is where I landed.
Yeah. I'm grateful that I get to do this, right? Like I said, not everybody gets to follow their joy and their passion, and I get to do both. But I wouldn't be here without therapy. So, like, I see my therapist twice a month. Done that ever since December 26, 2022. And I'm thankful for my therapist. And, you know, talk therapy is not for everybody, but there's so many other kinds of therapy out there.
Yeah.
Find something that works for you. For me, I had to speed date my therapist. I saw the 3 before I figured out the one that I needed.
That's the thing too that I've learned is not every therapist is for every person.
Yep.
You know, it's okay to say, hey, this isn't working. Try another, or find one that you like. Get referrals. You know, because we don't want to ask our friends for a therapist because then our friends think we're crazy.
Yeah. But you know, the other thing you can do too is like I joined some support groups, right? Finding like-minded people that had gone through something similar, and that was game changing for me because number one, now I didn't feel so terrified and alone in what I was going through, and that was super helpful.
Yeah, that was something else that I meant to ask you about earlier in your story when you said, you know, I wasn't real thrilled about Thanksgiving dinner. Christmas was coming up. I wasn't thrilled about that. Did you find that the more you would isolate, the easier it was to isolate? Did that happen?
Yeah. Like I would just super check out. I would sit in the recliner. I would color on my iPad. And I didn't talk to anybody. Like I wasn't even watching TV. Like I was in the room with my wife, but we didn't talk.
Yeah.
Now we talk every day. Now, you know, I make it a point to talk, and we have a keyword. Like if I need to get out of my head, if I say the word unicorn, that means we need to get out of the house and do something.
Yeah. Okay.
Whether it's a drive or if it's, you know, hey, we need to talk, whatever it is. But like we talk more now than I think we ever did before all the shit went down.
Oh wow.
And we laugh. We laugh about shit. Like what I did with Dirty Skittles, I talked shit with my wife too. Like I truly am going to drive the bus to hell.
Yeah, that's funny to me because like all my encounters with you, you've been laughing, smiling, happy. But I mean, I guess that's part of it, right? And you know, I will tell you this is the question. You know, you kept saying that people would say, you know, how are you doing? And you're going to say fine because that's what we do. How are you doing? Well, I'm fine. But it's different when someone says, hey, are you okay?
Yes.
Then we become a liar, right? Mm-hmm. When we say yes. So that question is a little different. And I think that implies that people care.
And, you know, if you have extroverted friends, like maybe ask them more open-ended questions that they have to actually answer, right? Yeah. Like, hey, how's your mental health today? You know, ask questions that we actually have to think about because the other way is like, hey, how you doing? I'm living the dream. That's how I would answer that question all the time. But if you take the time to really like dig a little deeper, you could actually save somebody's life.
Yeah. Yeah, and we don't give our words that much weight.
Yep.
You've been so fun to talk to.
Well, I love you.
Thank you. And I love you too. I'm glad that you're here.
I am too. Well, life is really worth living. It is.
Yeah, I mean, there's too much mystery, right? There's too much mystery for it to, and we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay. The clouds will part. They always part.
They do. And, just remember the bad stuff that's happening today may not be happening tomorrow. So, offer yourself patience and grace. I had to give myself patience and grace. I learned different tools with therapy. Like I learned how to journal. I learned how to set boundaries. Like if you haven't set boundaries now, please do. They are game changers. The power of no is amazing.
Yeah.
And just be kind. Be kind to people, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't take a lot of effort.
No.
Do you work with people to help them, like with journaling, with being kind, with setting boundaries, all that kind of stuff? Do you coach folks?
Yeah, I do some of the coaching. I mean, I don't have like a business for it, but like I do mentoring. Like if somebody is just stuck, they don't know where to turn, reach out to me. Like I have so many amazing resources out there that, I use not only for myself, but things that we got from our guests on the podcast. Like we've had some amazing people and just trying to make the world a better place.
Right.
Because it's on fire.
If somebody wanted to reach out, how would they find you?
So there's two places. If you want to know more about me personally and my company, go out to schosersolutions.com. And if you want to learn more about the podcast, you can go to goesononourheads.net.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. This was such a great conversation, and you asked really good questions.
It was hard. I wanted to know, but it was hard. I felt for you, and I didn't want to drag you back through all of it, but you seem to be totally fine with it.
I am totally fine with it, and my book just got picked up by a publisher, so hopefully that'll be out in the next 6 to 8 months, and
nice.
It's a. I gave it to like 30 people for a test read, and they said that they couldn't put the book down, that they laughed and they cried, and that they felt empowered after they were done reading it. And that's really what I hope for.
Yeah. That's awesome. Anything I missed? Anything?
No, you did good. This was one of the best podcast interviews I've been on. You asked really good questions.
Yeah, you're fun. Well, you're inviting. This has been great. I sure do appreciate it.
You're so welcome, man.
And this has been the All Can No Can't podcast. And Gretchen, I love that you found the can when all you saw was the can't. So
the can't.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And until next time, I love seeing all you guys. And until the next episode.
Thanks for listening to All Can, No Can't. If today's episode resonated with you, remember it's not about the chaos you face. It's about how you choose to take back control. It's about finding that one small can in the can't you're given and grinding it down. Find your angle, carve your place out in the world, and get the fucking win. Do that by finding what you can do and not listening to what you can't. You choose. Be sure to subscribe, share, and leave a review. Your support helps me reach more people that are ready to embrace the all-can mindset. And it lets them know there's someone that's willing to walk with them no matter how dark the path gets. You can find me on Insta at JDLuther 2.0 and allcan_no-can't. This is where I share more tips, stories, inspiration to help fuel your journey. And until next time, keep pushing boundaries, breaking limits, proving to yourself that anything is possible, even when you're told it isn't. Remember, life's not about can't. It's all can. Go prove them wrong.